Well, obviously, exciting time. Anytime you're playing the Gators, first of all, we know it's going to be a packed house, sold-out crowds every game, and it's early in the season. This is the time where we get a kind of good gauge on our team and see where we're at. We've got 8 games under our belt, but albeit competition is going to kick up a little bit here for both teams, and our players and coaches are looking forward to it.
You had mentioned after the Harvard series that, quote, we're not going to win every game. So what did you learn about your team facing Harvard? Because they came into play and you dropped the opener.
They did, and we didn't know much about them because they hadn't played in a couple of years. Being an Ivy League team, they didn't have a season. There was no sports in Ivy League the year before, and the year before that was the COVID year. They only played 5 games, maybe 6 games. So we didn't know a lot about them, but when they came in, we recognized a lot of scouts were in the stands, not just our scouts, but scouts from the Northeast. And we had heard that they had some players that were being looked at that were talented, and Harvard was a good team. But you asked the question, the most important one is losing that game early. You're down 1 and you still got 2 games to play, and the second game was a battle. We had a fight just to finish that game and win it, I think 2-1, and we were able to open it up on Sunday and kind of get into the bullpen a little bit. But no, it said a lot about our players that they weren't happy about Friday, but there was a calmness to them and all right, we got to turn the page and be ready to play the next day. And they did that, and that's huge to start the season, having that mentality.
So you go from that series now to the Gators. You're both top 25 programs. The place is going to be sold out. I mean, just the atmosphere itself, and just what are you looking for your guys right out of the gate with the opener?
Well, you want to make sure the guys are calm, and they're going to be juiced up. Everybody's going to be jacked up with the fans and the fact that it's in rival and ranked teams, which we normally are, and it's always a big series, but. It is early in the season. You want to make sure the guys are relaxed and playing the game and make sure they're having fun. So you want to keep that demeanor. It's kind of a balance, there's no doubt. But I'd like to see us just come out and play a balanced game. I mean, for us to win a game and win the series, overall, we're going to have to pitch well. It starts on the mound and defend. And obviously have some balance throughout our lineup that we can put some pressure on them and score some runs. It's going to have to be a complete game. The games we've played against Florida just since my time as a head coach, they've all been close games. A lot of them have been extra inning games, so it's probably going to come down to the end, probably come down to the bullpen. And we have a lot of confidence certainly in our guys late in the game. So if it comes down to that, certainly look forward to it.
As it pertains to the UF pitching, I know they got their Friday starter has been looking really good, but after that, it seems like it's almost like a mismatch where they're using 3-4 pitchers a game, at least Saturdays and Sundays. How do you prepare your guys when there's so many different guys they might be facing throughout the whole weekend?
You try to prepare them for everybody. Your main focus is on Friday guy. Yeah. You got to be ready for him, and he has been their standout guy, their most consistent guy. So that's game 1. You want to make sure that's the most important game. He's the guy I would think they expect to go quite a bit in the game. So, and he's an unusual, unique guy, being a big, long lefty. But having said that, we can't just prepare for him. We have to prepare for all kinds of things. So when you're doing that, you're setting up different things, machines throwing lefty and righty and different breaking balls, different coaches doing different things with the players so that they're prepared for both sides of it. But at the end of the day, our focus is going to be going into game 1 is the lefty, Marco.
I know that coaches and players will say 1 game at a time. That's what they always say.
Yeah.
But compared to the competition you have played, you said this is going to be stepped up now.
Yeah.
Is this a measuring, I hate to use the terminology, but they always use a measuring stick of where your program is right now based on what happens in this series against the Gators?
At this point in the season, if we did that and measured ourselves last year, we went to NC State, won 2 out of 3 on the road early. We went to Florida and won 2 out of 3 right out of the gate. We went to, I think, Virginia and won 2 out of 3, all road contests. And Virginia, NC State ended up going to the World Series, so it's not the end all. The teams, it's always been this way, and our championship teams are a perfect definition of this. The teams are the hottest teams at the end of the year, the teams that are going to win this thing. But it is a gauge, it is a measuring stick of where you're at early on. It might bring out some weaknesses that you don't see when you're facing maybe some other competition, that you can get away with some things. You can get away with maybe making certain pitches that you can't against maybe better hitters, or as a hitter get away with certain mistakes that you can against pitchers that are locating better possibly. All those things will come into play, and you'll be able to see it throughout the weekend. But you're right. Look, you got to be in the moment. Our guys have to stay in the moment. Can't get caught ahead of themselves. We can't look I don't see us. There's no reason for us to look ahead of this series, obviously. So they're excited for the series, but making sure we're just, like I said, mentally, physically ready to play, and understand that we just got to relax and play the game the way we know how to play it. We've got talented players here. If we play the game the way we know how to play, there's no reason why we can't be successful.
With that said, Gino, are you personally at this point excited about this series happening right now?
You could say I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited. Anytime we're playing, our rivals, the Gators, the Seminoles, you get very excited. But and it's been a little different. We haven't had a midweek game this year. It wasn't by plan, but we didn't have one, so would rather have had one. So you kind of been waiting all week to play these guys, which is a little different. You'd like to have played somebody and had your mind on somebody else maybe on Wednesday and play them. But these guys have been on our mind all week, and the good part about it is we've been able to prepare for them all week. Yeah, it's always exciting. You don't get the stadium to get sold out every day. It doesn't happen in college baseball. Certainly not here. Not like the old days. I wish it did. But when the Gators and the Seminoles come in town, usually they're big crowds, and so I expect it to be great atmosphere.
You mentioned a couple weeks ago that Jacob Burke was going to be a fan favorite. What have you made of his play so far?
It's been great. We've been very excited. My only regret is I wish we would have had him as a freshman. If I only knew about him earlier. You don't get many Louisiana guys coming to play at Miami, and we're fortunate. I guess that's one of the benefits of the portal, because it goes both ways. But we were able to get a guy like him and some other guys. But he's been, to me, I always use the term old school because he reminds me of guys that played during my era. Like to say that myself and guys that I played with play kind of similar in a similar manner. He plays with no fear, and of course he's got more tools. He's got a lot of ability. He really does. A lot of pro guys are starting to bear down on him because he's got all the tools. He can throw, he can run, he can hit for power, and so I think he's a very exciting player. We've been hitting him fifth. But, that could possibly change because we're going to have Carlos Perez back healthy, and he's going to be in the lineup. And so I'm not even sure what the lineup will look like tomorrow, but there will be an adjustment made because Carlos is probably going to be in the lineup.
You mentioned that a lot of these games have been close. They've come down to your bullpen. What's the key out of getting more innings out of your starters this weekend?
Well, early on we've been on pitch counts. So, Jake Garland could have gone 9 innings, for goodness sake, on Sunday. Well, we took him out because we had to get some other guys in to throw. You just got it's better than throwing a bullpen. Got to get them in live, facing hitters, and so we were able to do that with some guys late on Sunday. Carson threw 90 pitches on Saturday's game, which is the most he's ever thrown, being that he came in as a closer for us and as a bullpen guy. But since high school, probably I'd have to guess that's the most he's thrown. And he got a little tired, but you got to build their stamina up, especially a guy like him, but all of them. And so I was glad he was able to get through it and fight through it and get that last inning. I think it was the 6th inning that he finished, but might have been the 5th. But it's important that these guys build up their pitch counts because you do want them to go deep in the game. You don't want to go using a lot of your bullpen on Friday when you got 2 games left. If you eat up your bullpen on Friday, that can get trouble. That's why it's important as an offense to really take advantage if you got the opportunity to get into bullpens, because that'll carry over for Saturday and especially Sunday. So yes, it's very important that our guys give us. You want your starters at this point to give us at least good 6 innings if you can.
Gino, any reassessment of the starting pitching rotation Friday night?
Yeah, we have. We're going to go with Palmquist on Friday. We're going to sit Rosario just because he's going with it. He's got we call it in baseball, a dead arm. His arm is tired. If you watched him on last Friday, his velocity, he's a mid-90s guy that can get it up even higher. Sometimes get up to 97, 98. His velocity dropped down to upper 80s in the 3rd inning. So he's a guy that we're going to be very careful with. He's just so talented, and we're going to hold him out this weekend, and then we'll reassess and hopefully have him back for next weekend. So Carson Ligon is going to go Saturday, and then Sunday will be Jake Garland.
So with Carson, talk about him a little, for fans that aren't as familiar with him. What does he do real well?
Well, he threw against FAU, and he threw very well in that midweek game, and FAU's a pretty good offensive team. They always have been. He's a fastball, breaking ball, changeup guy. Throws low 92, 94 is what he was sitting early in the game. And he's got a very good changeup. And it's effective. Get a lot of swing and misses with his changeup, which is a great pitch to have because you don't have to defend that pitch. It's not put in play. And his breaking ball's gotten better and better. So he's a guy, along with 2 other freshmen, we've been very high on Ray Schlesinger and Gage Zeal. Those 2 guys are in the back end of our bullpen. We're putting them in huge roles. I mean, Gage is our setup guy, and Rafe, being left-handed, is our late left-handed guy. And but Carson Ligon, we have a lot of confidence in him as a freshman, and he's earned the right. He's pitched well in the fall and the spring, and of course he pitched really well against FAU.
Any other questions for Gino?
Coach, what's been the best part about having a guy like Max Romero with his experience this season and bringing it from College World Series just months ago?
Yeah, well, experience, the confidence. You know, he plays the game with a lot of confidence. And when you have that and that experience, it carries over to other players. There's no doubt. And so they see that. And I guess he's had some experience playing against Florida, being in the SEC, played against them as well. He's an offensive guy. When we brought him in, we knew he was going to be, we felt like and hoped he'd be offensive, and he has been that. And he's hitting behind, you know, arguably our best hitter, Yo-Yo Morales. And that is big. You got to have a guy that can hit behind, because if not, nobody's going to throw to Yo-Yo. They've had to throw to Yo-Yo because of the fact that Max has been so productive. And Max defensively is worked very hard. He's gotten better and better. Like I said, Carlos, we're hoping to get him in the lineup this weekend. But you know, if Carlos gets back healthy in a few weeks, hopefully to catch, you know, you'll see both of those guys catching, because Carlos's strength really is catching. But he swung the bat really well this fall, and of course his first at bat of the season he has the other day, and he hits a home run. And so he's a guy that, you know, we'd like to have in our lineup. So I would expect as he gets healthier catching, you're going to see both those guys in the lineup, one catching, one DHing. But Max has been great pickup for us. It's a great job by our coaches. You know, get another guy we got out of the portal.
And then how much do you see him continue to be a factor from a hitting perspective against a team like Florida that still has some veterans? And you guys didn't have Max last year or the year before, so how much do you think he'll continue to be a better factor?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's a guy that's got a lot of power, so one swing of the bat, he can, you know, knock in some runs. And he can hit the ball the other way too. It's not just pull. He can drive the ball the other way. You know, his home run was off the scoreboard, I believe. So he's he's a guy that's going to be. He's going to come up with guys on base. I mean, our guys been getting on base in front of him. Like to hope that they'll do that this weekend. So he's going to be a guy that you expect to hopefully get RBIs out of, and you know, that's what we're looking for.